Hi, I'm Carla Estelle. I'm a homeschooling mom with 6 children. Most of them are grown now, and my youngest is now entering a freshman in high school. But what I'm going to show you is some of the things that I've learned from when the kids were little and how to teach them. Several of my children struggled either in reading or in math. And today we're going to look at math, and next week we will be back to looking at spelling. Today we will just be showing simple addition and subtraction. However, if your child is beyond that and struggling in something else, you can go ahead and order my math DVD. This starts with counting and addition and subtraction, and it ends going through fractions, multiplication, and division. So if you don't want to wait a few months until I get to that topic, you can go ahead and order the math DVD. In the math DVD, first I explain a concept, then I bring a student in and actually show it at work as they practice and learn the concept. So even though it's designed for moms to watch and to learn how to help their child, children love to watch it too, especially when the other kids are in there doing math. So today we're going to start with mathematics, and we're going to start with how to take the count out of addition and subtraction. Sometimes when kids haven't quite memorized their addition facts, it can be very tedious getting them to do their homework. When my oldest son was just learning addition and subtraction, we counted. So if you had a 3 plus 4, we used manipulatives, and we would count out 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we would count out 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we would count and see how many we had all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mommy, I think I hear a bird. What kind of bird is that outside the window? And we would have to start all over again. It was very, very time consuming because it was very difficult for him to get all the way to 7 without getting distracted. But once he finally did get to 7 and we wrote a 7 down, then we had another problem to do. This was extremely frustrating trying to teach him math. So one day I prayed and I said, God, would you please help me teach my son math without having all this distraction and counting? And I remembered with dominoes how when you're playing a game of dominoes, you know what a 3 is and you know what a 4 is without having to count the dots because it was all in a pattern. So that's what we did then with our manipulatives. We put them into a pattern, and then you no longer had to count. So I'm going to show you this pattern. We're going to go up to 12 today. And once your child has mastered the patterns very well, then addition and subtraction will be a breeze. Everybody knows a 1. It's just 1. A 2 is very easy too. You can see a 2. 3, you always put 3 into a triangle. A triangle has 3 sides. A tricycle has 3 wheels. 3 goes into a triangle. For a 4, it goes into a square. Again, it's an easy one for them to remember. A square has 4 sides, 4 corners. 4 goes with square. For a 5, we turn this into a house by adding a roof. So 5 is your square plus a roof, making it a house. 6 is one of the hardest ones. And I'm not quite sure why, but a lot of kids have trouble remembering. But 6 is a shoebox or a rectangle. 7, you again add a roof. We did a lot of traveling with our kids when they were younger, and we were used to tall motels. So that's what we use for a 7. A 7 is a tall motel. So that was the house, and that is the 7, a tall motel. For an 8, you separate these so you have 2 squares that make an 8. This one would be hard to remember, except if you have them trace around, they will be drawing an 8. So an 8 is 2 squares. When you put the 8 on its side and you add a roof, you have the 9. The 9 is a finished house and a house waiting to be finished. So a 9 looks like this, and a 10 is 2 finished houses. So we're going to practice with that for just a little bit, and then I'll show you how easy it is to add and subtract. What you would do with your child, first you show them the patterns, and I would just go 1 through 5 until they get those down, then add a new pattern each day. So we will slide them all up. You would pull a few down and you would say, what is this? They'd say a 3. What is this? They'd say a 5. What is that? That's a 4. And then you would switch things and you would say, show me a 3. And they would show you a 3. Show me a 6. And they would show you a 6. You always want to make sure that they put it into the proper pattern. Just because they have 6 shapes, like this, that's not a 6. For a 6, you want it to be lined up proper. So it's not just the number of circles that are here, but you want them to learn to where they can see this shape and know that's a 6. That's how we take the count out. So once they have learned all the shapes up through 10, then it's time to start with the adding and subtracting. Let's go ahead and start with our 6 since that's here. What is 6? Take away 2. You simply slide away the 2 and you're left with a 4. What is 4 plus 3? Here you have your 4, which is a square, your 3, which is a triangle. When you slide them together, it makes a tall motel, it makes a 7, and they write down the 7. What is 7? Take away 2. You're sliding away 2, and you're left with a 5. What is 5 plus 4? Slide down your 4. And it makes a 9. Right? So once they get the hang of this, math becomes almost playtime, as all they have to do is slide the shapes and write down their answers. Now, when my kids were little, I always had a string of little babies as well, so we used very large things for manipulatives. We went through a lot of Juicy Juice, so I would use the caps off the Juicy Juice containers. But as the youngest ones came up and grew up, and we no longer had babies in the house, I found these cool little marbles at Walmart. And these are in the office supply area, and they're magnetic. So you take a lid off of a, this I do believe was a cookie box, and then your marbles stay right there, and it's very portable, and you don't have to have this large of manipulatives. But it works the same way. You can also use checkers. You can use buttons. These happen to be large craft buttons with a magnet glued to the back. Right. In my video, what I used, since we call our educational materials, we call our business down-to-earth education, I actually took a limb from a tree and sawed it up into little discs, and so it's wooden little discs for down-to-earth, which is what I've used for here. So what I've just showed you is the patterns and how to add and subtract going 1 through 10. In the DVD, it goes from there to double-digit addition and subtraction, counting money, multiplication, division, just simple multiplication. For instance, I will show you one. I'll show you 3 times 4. For 3 times 4, you would set up 3 groups of 4. So we're skipping ahead to multiplication just for a little sneak peek. So this would be 3 times 4. you would take your far one and turn these two into houses. So then you could see it's 10, 12. So 3 times 4 is 12. You could also set your pattern up using 4, let me make them go, 4 threes. You'll end up with the exact same answer. It's just a little bit harder because you have more moving to do. But those two make a 5, these two make a 5, and you still have 10, 12. And that's what I'll be showing you more of a few months from now. But in the meantime, kindergarten, first grade, and those struggling second graders who still haven't mastered addition and subtraction facts, show them this lid pattern and see how it works for you. Be back next week. You can order my math DVD, and it goes all the way through fractions, multiplication, division, in case you don't want to wait a few months until we finally get to that topic.